Guys, what's going on? I hope you guys are well. I hope you guys are staying safe. Guys, we've just recently had few podcasts, and a recent sparring partner of Canelo said that Canelo he's getting he's not a young fighter. He's worn out, and he's suffering with a lot of injuries, and said that Canelo's never been quick on his feet. He's always been a fighter that has been a strong fighter, but he's suffering with a lot of injuries. And he's an old fighter. He's not a young fighter. Um, and I mentioned this as well, that Canelo Alvarez has had so many fights, and he's had such a long career. He's had over 60 fights, and he's been fighting since, 15? He really, although he's 31, 32, really, he's probably a lot older than that. He's had a lot of fights, man. And when you've had that many fights, you're no longer a young fighter. He's been in a lot of fights. And from after about, you would say, when he fought Floyd, and even prior to that, he was fighting at championship level. You wouldn't say his resume prior to that point was very strong, but he had still fought some decent fighters. And to be honest, since then, he's been in back-to-back world title fights against good fighters. And he's had some tough fights, some really tough fights. And, Canelo Alvarez, it's not just the fights itself. It's the back-to-back camps. They wear your body down. Can you imagine how hard it must be for his body to continue doing back-to-back camps? His body's gone through a lot of stress. His body's gone through a lot of pain, a lot of stress. And, Canelo Alvarez, for me, shouldn't hang around that long. He shouldn't go on to late 30s, because this is a guy, like, you got to look at people like Floyd Mayweather, right? Floyd Mayweather, towards the back end of his career, there was rumors. Robert Garcia mentioned this, that he told Mikey, because Mikey wanted to fight Floyd, and he said, no, my body's finished. My hands, everything are finished. And Canelo Alvarez's body looks, I think Floyd probably his bones was a lot more brittle than Canelo. Canelo looks a very thick set. But even then, I do think Canelo's got a very strong body, and he's very well built. But I do think that Canelo Alvarez's body has probably been battered and bruised. Mayweather, towards the end of his career, that's why Mayweather was so defensive and didn't really like to get into wars, because his body, he had the ability to do that. But his body was also breaking down as well. So that didn't help Mayweather. Now, Canelo Alvarez also has a body which, in my opinion, Canelo doesn't suffer from the breaks and weak hands, brittle hands that Floyd Mayweather did. But Canelo, it's only so much your body can take when you're putting that much intense pressure on your bones, your body, your joints, right? It's going to take a toll eventually. Your body's going to take a toll. You can't continue to putting intense pressure on your body and expect it's going to last long, because Canelo Alvarez has been doing that for a long time now. And he's now getting older, where your body starts to slow down, your joints. Because you think about it, it's like anything. It's like a car. If you use it more, the more miles it does, the more chances it's got of breaking down. The same with your body. The older you get, the reason why you start when you get older, because you've used your body parts a lot. Right? So at that point, your body starts to wear down, you slow down. Right? So that's why, a boxer's prime, by the time of 35, 36 would probably be a normal working man's peak life, right? You'd probably say when you get to 35, 36, that's when your career starts. That's probably when you're starting to become an expert in your field, and that's when your knowledge and wisdom is probably where it should be in your field. And maybe you still got a lot to learn, but that's when you probably get at your peak. Now, in sport, it's different. In sport, that's the point where you're probably looking to retire. If you've had a successful career as a footballer, boxer, cricketer, whatever, rugby player, you're probably looking to retire at that age, because that's how a sport life is. That's why they get paid a lot, because at that point, when they get to about 36, Canelo could retire now. He's got that much money. But generally, I'm just talking on average, a boxer at 36, he's past his best, he's retiring. And probably a boxer should be looking, especially Canelo, shouldn't be fighting. I don't think Canelo should fight more than 35. That's max. I think after that, he'd be putting his body under. Even now, you could say he's putting his, he's in danger because he's had that many fights. But after a certain point, if he starts to dip, his career starts to dip in anyway. I think he should get out of there. I don't think he should allow himself to dip and become a fighter who starts taking losses. I think Canelo should definitely leave the game before the game retires him. I think he should retire from boxing rather than boxing retiring him. Because again, boxing isn't a sport which you want to play around. Boxing is a sport where you want to get in, get out, get rich, and get out. And Canelo's legacy is already going to be there. I mean, for me, of course, there's going to be people that criticize him. Irrespective of what Canelo does, they're going to criticize him. So Canelo, in my opinion, needs to get in, get out now, because it's not about getting rich, because he's already rich. He's already financially secure. He's financially free. He doesn't need the money in that point where he needs to be he's in a position financially where he needs the dough. Canelo Alvarez is already financially free. He's already made enough money now where he could retire happily and live probably 20 lives over. But at the end of the day, there's no point of making all that money and then not being able to enjoy it. It's all good. That's what they say. Like, I'm a bit like that. I'm a bit of a workaholic. I work so many I work so many hours. I do work as a lecturer, then I do a lot of my private tutoring stuff. But the thing is, like, there's no point of working that hard in life, no matter what you do, and then not enjoying it. Because if you're working so much and you're not enjoying the money that you're actually making, what's the point? And the same way with boxing is a bit different. There's no point of making all that money, right? And then damaging your health, where you're probably going to be paying a lot of money to health bills or private health care. You want to be able to get in, make the money, and then be able to get out. There's no point of becoming obsessed with making a lot of money, or becoming greedy, or breaking records where you're putting your health. Because boxing, all right, you can get, even with like normal work, you can put a lot. If you work too much, you can burn yourself out, right? When you're young, you don't feel it, but after, when you get older, you'll feel the effects of overworking, and you could burn yourself out. Yeah, because your chances are you're probably not getting enough rest. You're probably not got enough social life. So there are a lot of disadvantages. But if that's how you want to live, then that's because irrespective, no matter how much money you make, no money is enough money. You're never gonna be content with how much money you have. Like, that's just human nature. Irrespective of how much money you make, you could be making 5 grand a month. Then you think, oh no, I'm making 10 grand a month. Oh no, I'm making 15 grand a month. 20. You'll never ever be content. You could be making million, 2 million, 30. You're always looking to make more, because that's the drive most human beings have when they get to that level. So Canelo will never be content, like, generally. And now some people, everyone's different. I can't speak for Canelo, but looking at the way he is and how driven he is, like, he probably always wants to break boundaries. So he always wants to do things that he can break more records. So when there's a person like that, then he wants to keep breaking records, but at the same time, he needs to look at it from his health point of view, because at the end of the day, he's got one body, and it doesn't matter how much money he makes. That body, if he every time he goes in the ring, that body is under pressure. The head's being hit, right? So he needs to make sure that he doesn't overdo it in a sport like that. And that's just with anybody, really. You shouldn't be overdoing it, even if forget boxing, anything, because your body is going to get burnt out if you're overworking it. Either mentally, you're going to do something to yourself, or in boxing, you're physically going to do something to yourself. So it's important in boxing or in anything to, make money. Obviously, in boxing, if you're a level at Canelo's level, these guys can make a lot of money in one go. They're making, like, Canelo's probably making 30, 40 million in one fight. He's financially free for the rest of his life. So he, again, shouldn't, Canelo's got a family, he's got a daughter, I think he's married, so I feel like as a boxer, you need to think about life after boxing, and with any sport, because there's a life after, and boxing's one of those sports where, your life after boxing could be, from a health point of view, can be, you can suffer damages because of the brutality of the sport, how hard it is, how tough it is, the training, getting hit, having brutal fights over time. They take an effect. It's a hard sport, very hard sport. You know, people underestimate what some fighters even making weight. Imagine, right, from like 20, if you're fighting like Canelo's case, if he's fighting when 20 to like 36, yeah, and then he's having to make weight. You know, I'd like to think when he was 15, he probably didn't struggle as much making weight. But when you get to 20, all right, you're struggling making weight. And we know that Canelo was making 154, where it wasn't easy for him. So imagine putting yourself now. I know Canelo in these last couple of years, Canelo hasn't really struggled because he's fighting at weight classes which are very comfortable for him to make the weight. But early on in his career, he was really, and some fighters fight at one weight. How hard does it get? You know, it's very hard. That again takes a toll on your body because you're putting your body under intense pressure trying to make a weight which isn't comfortable. This is why I think a fighter shouldn't be fighting at a weight just to gain an advantage because he'll be bigger on fight night. But you know the damage that you do use to yourself by getting yourself down to that weight could be detrimental to you. So yeah, that's my take on it. Leave your thoughts, guys. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. I'd love to know your opinion, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace, guys.